Oh no, there goes Tokyo. Hey there, I'm your host, Brian Rollins, and this is the Dorky, Geeky, Nerdy Trivia Podcast. Every week we delve into a geeky trivia topic. This week we're heading across the Pacific to visit Godzilla and his fellow monsters in preparation for this week's new movie, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. The show's format is pretty simple. 3 rounds of 10 questions each. Each round, dorky, geeky, and nerdy respectively, get harder as we go on. If you'd like some scoring rules, check out dorkygeekynerdy.com/rules. Okay, let's get this show on the road. The Dorky Round. Number 1. Godzilla premiered in what year? (1954). Number 2. Godzilla faced off against what great ape in 1962? King Kong, in the film King Kong vs. Godzilla. Number 3. What was the second Godzilla movie called? Godzilla Raids Again. It came out in 1955. Number 4. What is the generic term for Godzilla and other giant monsters? Daikaiju, or just kaiju. Number 5. What is the name of the robotic version of Godzilla? Mecha Godzilla. Number 6. What kaiju resembles a giant pteranodon? Rodan. His name is a shortening of pteranodon. This is especially true of his Japanese name, Radon. Number 7. What is the name of the 3-headed creature that faces off against Godzilla? King Ghidorah. Number 8. Which Canadian actor was spliced into the movie Godzilla in an attempt to make it more accessible to North American audiences? Raymond Burr. Number 9. One of the most popular Godzilla films was released in the US as Godzilla vs. the Thing. Who is Godzilla's opponent in this film? Mothra. Number 10. How many Godzilla films have been featured on Mystery Science Theater 3000? 2. Sea Monster and Megalon. The Geeky Round. Number 1. Who directed the first Godzilla movie? Ishiro Honda. Number 2. Gojira is a portmanteau of what 2 Japanese words? Gorira and Kujira, gorilla, and whale, respectively. Number 3. Godzilla was given what Hollywood honor in 2004? He received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for his 50th anniversary. Number 4. What Japanese film company produces these films? Toho Company Limited. Number 5. First appearing in Son of Godzilla, Kumanga is a giant what? Spider. Number 6. What is the name of the giant flying turtle kaiju who starred in films from a rival studio? Gamera. Number 7. In 1971, Godzilla battled the Smog Monster, a monster made of pollution and trash. What was this monster's name? Hedorah. Number 8. What is the name of the device which killed Godzilla in 1954? Oxygen Destroyer. Number 9. What previously unknown planet in our solar system uses monsters to invade Earth in Monster Zero in 1965? Planet X. Number 10. What is the name of the creatures Godzilla battled in Godzilla 2014? Muto, or Massive Unknown Terrestrial Organism. Okay, it's time for a quick break. We have a promo for the Earth Destructive Directive podcast. The host, Luke Giaconetti, was kind enough to help us out with the questions this week. Take a listen.
This is Tokyo, once a city of 6 million people. What has happened here was caused by a force which, up until a few days ago, was entirely beyond the scope of man's imagination. Tokyo, a smoldering memorial to the unknown. An unknown which at this very moment still prevails and could at any time lash out with its terrible destruction anywhere else in the world.
Hi folks, Luke Giaconetti here. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Do you like giant monsters, or as they're called in Japan, Daikaiju? Monsters like Godzilla, Rodan, Gamera, King Ghidorah, or Mothra? Do you like more obscure monsters, such as Gappa or Yongari? Do you like giant heroes like Ultraman, or super robots like the Shogun Warriors? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I think you might like my podcast, Earth Destruction Directive. I'm a dedicated fan of all things Daikaiju, and I'd like to share that with all of you. Please check out Earth Destruction Directive at twotruefreaks.com. Earth Destruction Directive, where we turn your Daikaiju dreams into city-smashing reality.
Again, thanks, Luke, and be sure to tune in to Earth Destructive Directive podcast. We'll have a link to it in our show notes. And now, back to the show. The Nerdy Round. Number 1. In Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla attacks what 2 cities? New York City and Tokyo. Number 2. In Godzilla 1985, Godzilla battled a state-of-the-art flying tank. What was its name? Super X. Number 3. Akihito Hirata famously wore an eye patch as Dr. Serizawa in the original Godzilla. What other Godzilla film does Hirata appear in with an eye patch? Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. Number 4. This 1956 follow-up to Godzilla was voluntarily pulled from release, and the Japanese version has never been released on home video. What is the name of the movie? Half Human. Number 5. What is the name of Godzilla's ally who is the defender of the royal family of Okinawa? King Caesar. Number 6. What is the name of the legendary Japanese composer who scored the original Godzilla and many others? Akira Ifukube. Number 7. This monster was created by genetically engineering Godzilla cells, a rose, and a human soul. What was the monster's name? Biollante. Number 8. What is the name of the monster created to defend the spirit of the earth, a dark mirror of Mothra? Batra. Number 9. What is the name of the recurring psychic character who appeared in the Godzilla films in the 1980s and 1990s? Miki Segusa. Number 10. A modified Godzilla suit was used as the monster Jiras in an episode of which beloved Japanese superhero show? Ultraman. Alright, everybody safe and sound in the bunker? Good. Again, a huge thanks to Luke from Earth Destruction Directive for the assist on this episode. You can find a link to that podcast on the show notes for this episode at dorkygeekynerdy.com. We're back next week with another fun-filled episode. Here's your clue. Which Marvel Comics property got its name because its characters have an extra power? See you next week. I'm your host, Brian Rollins. Thanks for listening.